What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to talk about some of the most common questions I get asked about the route tree, okay? So I know this was a requested video, and this is finally the video where I'm going to talk about the route tree, and these are just the routes that I feel most people need the most work on, okay? Obviously, we're not going to be able to cover everything today, but we're going to talk about an out, a dig, then we got a fade, a curl, and a corner, okay? So some of the most common ones that I get asked questions about. So this first one here, we got an out, and this is going to be up against an off corner, so let's watch this thing full speed, and then we'll break it down. So AB's coming out here, takes this pressure step, then works this out, accelerates off the break, then makes this catch and toe taps down. Now, the main thing I want to talk about here is this stem off the line. So you see how this DB is outside shade, right? So where's AB going? He's attacking the outside because what's that's going to do? That's going to force this DB to kind of close off because this is a zone coverage look. So this is going to force him to kind of close off this sideline and force AB to go inside, right? But that's how he already knows that. So you see how he takes this pressure step right here, right? So we call this a pressure step, where we just kind of make this little powerful stick and then we push vertical, okay, like a vertical set almost. So he takes this stick, now he pushes up vertical. Now, when he pushes up vertical here, he pushes up vertical 1 second inside step. Now, what he does here is when he pushes vertical, it gets this DB to commit those hips, because what it's like is I'm taking this power step to the inside, then pushing vertical because we're trying to make this DB think like I'm running a fade, right? We're just trying to take an inside release. Okay, we can't beat him to the outside. We're just going to run vertical, pushing up fade. That's why pad level, especially on a speed cutout, is so important. You see here, his pad level does not change. When he makes this break, he's very sudden with this stick, very explosive, head and shoulders to the inside. The one thing I don't like is this arm kind of flailing out wide, because that's an indicator that I'm making a break. I would like to keep it nice and tight to my frame, but very sudden with his feet and does not change pad level, because that's how we sell vertical. Anytime we're running an out route, guys, we always got to be pushing vertical, right? And then when he makes this break, he comes off of it. See, it forces this DB to speed turn. When we take that pressure step and we get his hips committed to the inside and we break this thing off, we get in that blind spot of the DB right here, and he's forced to speed turn out of there. Now, the ball's out just a little bit late, but AB does a good job working back to the quarterback. That's what we got to do anytime we run an out route. We got to make this break, and then we got to work back to the QB, because if this thing's underthrown, we don't want to just run flat. If we just ran flat here, this DB would be able to undercut it, okay? It's a great job executing this out route by Antonio Brown. Let's watch it full speed one more time. It's coming out, takes his pressure step, gets him to commit his hips, 2 hard inside steps to come back to this ball. It's a great job, okay? So now we're going to be running it, or looking at a dig here, okay? So the main thing I want to talk about a dig is the top of the route. This is where a lot of people had some confusion. So you see inside release here, works to restack in and out of this thing in 3 steps and accelerates out of the break, okay? So this is the main thing. Main thing we're going to talk about is the top of the route. So off the line of scrimmage, you see just a little bit of a split release here just to get this DB on those heels. You see how he's already backpedaling out of there. Now we're just bursting up. We're taking this inside release. Now, when I'm working an inside release, it's very tempting to just go straight up to it and then run a dig, because I already got this inside release, right? But what this receiver does a great job of is working towards the inside, working to restack, so this guy is trailing him, right? And now he's kind of looking back over the shoulder, giving this peek back technique to make sure this DB stays on the outside, right? That's what we got to do. We can't just take this inside release, go run it, and run the break. Anytime we're against man coverage and I got to run a dig or maybe a post or some kind of in-breaking route, I want to work to restack this DB, okay? In any route for that matter. Like, let's say you're out of the slot. We're going to talk about this in a second later on in the video, and I got to run a corner route or I got to run it out. If I could work to restack this guy at the top of the route, it's going to be easy for me. So you see how he's looking over this shoulder, right? When I peek over this shoulder, that's what's going to get this DB to hold on the inside here. Now, this DB could have a little bit better awareness because he's looking to the wrong side. Like if he was looking back over this way, that might be more believable because the ball's coming from the left side, but he's looking back over on the right side here. That should be a tell that there's probably going to be an in-breaking move come. But when we give our eyes tell lies, right? That's what's going to hold this DB in any position, right? You work a double move like a post corner. Your eyes shoot around back to the post. Your eyes are so deceptive, and that's why we got to use them. Now, when he's trailing with us like this and we're running full speed downfield, we got to have great body control and be able to change direction at the drop of a dime, right? That's the most important thing on a dig. I got to be able to sell vertical and get in and out of this route, least amount of steps possible, and accelerate out of the break. There's 3 parts of the route. You got the stem, you got the explosion at the top of the route, or aka the break, and then you got the acceleration off of it. So he's doing the stem part correctly, pushing vertical. Now when he snaps down, we call this a snap down. On a dig, You can teach it either way, right? On a dig, you could snap down with the inside leg first, right? That could happen too because it would be 2 steps, right? So you could snap down with the left and then hook around with the right and you're out in 2 steps. Or it could be 3 steps. I'm not really too picky out of it, just as long as it's not more than 3, right? You don't try to slow down and run this thing. You can run a speed cut dig, but that's a different story right now. This is what we're focused on. We're focused on this break right here. So you see how he snaps down here, right? Anytime we snap down, this is the position I want to be in. Chin to my knee, dropping my hips violently, okay? That's where I want to be. Now, when you take that second step, that's what's going to get your hips turned on this 90-degree angle, which is this dig, right? So your second step is one of the more important steps. You see how it pivots, and then his third step is what drives him out. And now, when you're in that position after you make that 3-step break, I don't want to lose all this separation that I got, right? Because DBs work this all the time, coming in and out of breaks, running full speed, but they don't work it that far downfield, right? So we're going to get some space right here, but here's the key. Here's where receivers lose, is they make this break, they'll get out in 3 steps, and they pop their chest up. Then this DB has time to react because he's playing catch-up, and he's in oh crap mode, and he's pumping his arms trying to get at you. But you see how this receiver here pumps his arms and continues to get separation from this DB. That's a great job of this Ohio State receiver. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. It's a great job in and out of the break in 3 steps. So push vertical, no indicator with your pad level, in and out in 3 steps. So now we're going to talk about a fade, okay? So you guys have probably all seen this route. This is Sammy Watkins and Richard Sherman in the Super Bowl, his most recent Super Bowl. So what we're going to talk about is this fade versus kind of a bigger corner, you know what I mean, bigger size corner running a fade versus press, okay? So let's watch it full speed. So he kind of gives him this 1-2-3 move to the outside, works to restack like I was talking about, and makes a play over the top. So you see how he's here. He goes 1, 2, 3, okay? That's the main thing that I want to talk about is this back leg goes 1. Now, when we're here and we're making this move, the whole goal of this is to get Sherman to either shuffle with us and give up the inside, right? So when I come out here and I go 1, 2, 3 to the outside, look at his head and his shoulders because Sherman's disciplined, right? He's looking at these numbers, and when we burst up into the route, then he transitions into looking at the hips. So he's looking at these numbers right now. So how do I make sure that I get him to bite? My numbers move. My upper half is moving. I'm violent with my upper half. My head and my shoulders are turning because that's what's going to get Sherman to turn his hips. Now, here's the thing, too. I got to make sure my feet are underneath me. I don't want to reach with my feet. I see a lot of receivers do this. They'll make this first move. They'll go 1, 2, 3 here, but this third step will be way outside their frame, and then their toes will be open and the weight won't be on the inside part of your foot, right? And then your hips wide open, and then there's no explosion back to the inside. All this DB is going to do is open up his hips and be able to recover, right? But because he stays here, you see he goes 1, 2, 3, and his feet are explosive, but his upper half is violent. That's what gets Sherman to turn his hips. Now, in this situation, let's say he does try to get hands on us right here. We know that we want to take an inside release, so all we got to do from a receiver perspective is beat this off arm because we just want to take an inside release. So if we swat and have a plan for this off arm, get his hands off of us, let's say he recovers with the left, I've already taken the inside release, so I could just work that windshield wiper, and I hope you guys know what I mean by when I say windshield wiper, of just getting those hands off of him. But because my feet were so good, it forced his hips to lock. You could see his hips are locked right here, and Sherman's a great corner. I'm not trying to knock Sherman. I know a lot of people are talking a lot about how he played in this game, right? This is just one of the plays where he got beat, and it's going to happen. Receivers are going to get beat as well, but you see how his hips lock right here. If we focus on getting that hand off of us, we get his hips to turn, his hips will lock, and then I'm able to burst upfield, and then you see how he even has to grab on here, but we work to restack, and then Mahomes gives him a good ball over the top. It's a great job by Sammy Watkins. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So again, it's just 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, get him to slide over, beat that off arm, and then work to restack. That's a great job by Sammy Watkins. Okay, so now this is going to be A.J. Brown. We're going to talk about a curl now, okay? So the main thing about a curl I want to talk about is, again, the feet at the top of the route. So let's watch it full speed. So, again, this could work. The reason why we're same kind of steps for a comeback, okay? So you see how when he's here, he's at the top of the route. I want it to be in 3 steps, right? So we're snapping down on the outside leg. Now, here's the thing. On a dig, remember how I said it could be 2 steps. On a comeback or a curl, I personally think it should only be 3 steps because if we try to go 2, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think you could get in and out of a break in 2 steps 15 yards downfield if you're running like a 16 back to 14-yard comeback. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's realistic. I think it's realistic to get out of it in 3rd steps because your outside leg right here, you see how he's snapping down, right? I think a little bit of an indicator with his head. He kind of swings his head up right there, right? You see how his head kind of pops up. I think that's an indicator if a DB's in a back pedal that a break's coming. I would like to keep his head forward and then just drop into this position because this is a great position to be be in. His hips are crazy violent. He's dropping his chin to his knee on that outside step. This kind of serves as like an anchor. You're dropping yourself in the ground, right? It gets yourself to this low explosive pad level position. Now, what does he do? He pivots off the second step, right? Just kind of like that dig, but it's a little bit more of a pivot because my hips got to get turned on a 45-degree angle, just like a comeback, right? And then that third step comes out, and where's his weight? It's on the inside portion of his foot, right? Because he knows that's how you create force. When your leg is straight up and down like this and you popped your butt up, we got no force. It's like we're starting, stopping, and have to start again. I want to create energy right here, and energy comes off of this last leg drive, and you see how he's running his hands out of the break. On a curl, on a comeback, I always got to be pumping my arms. I always got to be running back to the ball. That's a great job by A.J. Brown working the technique of this route. On a curl or a comeback, guys, the reason why I didn't include a comeback is because it's the exact same thing. I just be repeating myself. It's snapping down with the outside leg on a curl, and then if it was a comeback, you're going to snap down. Like, let's say you're lined up on the right, just like how A.J. Brown is. When I'm running a curl, I'm snapping down with my right leg. When I'm running a comeback, I'm snapping down with my left leg. You can get in and out of it in 3 steps. That's the least amount of steps possible. Let's watch it full speed one more time. So again, 1, 2, 3. In and out of this break, run your hands back to the ball. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a corner here. This is from a slot perspective, and we're against man. So if it's man coverage like this is what I want to do. So let's watch it full speed. So again, kind of gives him this 1, 2, 3, eyes to the inside, sudden stick, gets him to fall, and then we're working up on this corner. Throw kind of takes him out of bounds a little bit, but he did get 1 foot in. So the main thing I want to talk about is, again, it's kind of that same release that we were talking about. So it's here, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's kind of the same thing. It's the exact same release that Sammy Watkins was doing, right? We're giving him this 1, 2, 3 move to the outside. The goal is to get him to slide or get him to lean to the inside, try to stick with his hand, and then take the inside release, okay? So that's the main thing I want to focus on. So you see 1, 2, 3 here. Now, what does it do? Gets him to shuffle. His feet are moving. We took the inside, right? What's the only arm that we have to beat? We only got to beat this right arm. So we just got to have a plan for it, get his hands off of him, and then his hips will lock, and then we could take this inside release, right? So that's exactly what he does, but he doesn't even need it right now. He got him to slide so far that we could just take this inside release and work. Now, the one thing I think he could do a little bit better of a job on here is maybe working to restack a little bit, but we did our job. We got the job accomplished. Now he takes this rocker step, 1, 2 to the inside here, right? Now, look what he does with his body, and look where his hips are. That's what's going to get this DB to bite. Anytime we're running a corner, guys, and it's against man coverage, I got to give him a move to the inside, because if he just stays here, makes this stick, and goes up to the corner, this DB will be able to stay on that back hip and undercut the route, right? If it's a good disciplined DB. But you see how he comes here, he goes 1, 2 at the top of the route. Head and shoulders to the inside. That's what's going to get this DB to bite inside, because look where he's looking. He's looking at my body. He's looking at my hips. Now, I got to have my hips and my upper half separate from my legs. And you see how he's pushing off the inside portion of his foot to take him back upfield, and that's exactly what happens. Gets that DB leaning inside, and you see how he's accelerating off the break. That's something a lot of people don't realize. We got to accelerate off the break. I don't want to pop up. Let's watch it full speed one more time. So again, 1, 2, 3. Takes the inside here. 1, 2. Head and shoulders, hips, all separate from my lower half to get some separation. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. And if you're a receiver and you want to get better at your football IQ, you want to know when to actually put these moves to work in the right situations, right? We could just all know the technique, but if I don't know the situation to do it, check out that link in the description, guys. And please leave in the comments any questions you guys have. I'll see you guys next time.